All righty. All right, I think we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. We are jumping on with Flatcap Dapper Pastor, who is live on the Twitch Digital, or Twitch Digital, the Church Digital page. And he's pulling us in so we can talk about digital ministry stuff. We're very pumped about that. All right, so bear with me as we get logged in on this and put everything where we need it to be. We literally have stuff popping up right here. That's Prime stuff. That's WISP notifications. Okay. We got that going. I'm going to get this music popping off right here. Oh, interesting. There must have been an update. Fine. Let there be updates. Okay. At Flatcap Dapper Pastor at the Church Digital channel. Yes. All right. We have that all correct. Guys, we're about to start an ad on our Twitch page here in the next 13 seconds. We're going to just see what happens with that. All right. Close out that. Bring this up. There we go. Get some music going while we're waiting here. There we go. Alrighty. So as everyone is popping in here, welcome in, welcome in. Make sure you say something hello or in the channel. We'd love to welcome you, especially on if you're on YouTube. We've been growing on YouTube little by little, and that feels really nice. Hope you guys can just put something in the chat right there. All right. Come on. Show me the notifications. We're literally just trying to get in on this stuff. Okay, I do have the collab Twitch still up. Good. There we go. Click to accept. Get started. All right. I hear something.
Chat can hear your call. Yes. Why is my cam? Oh, I gotta turn the cam on. There we go.
Me too.
There we go. Now let me get over to the collab.
Oh, wait. Hello.
Why is it not there?
Choose the webcam.
Okay, maybe I gotta change a setting. Hey, Bootstraps, welcome in, buddy.
I see you. Do you see me?
Give me a second on figuring out what I'm doing wrong. Collab VOD.
I'm not seeing him on mine.
How's that not it? Oh, sorry.
Settings.
Let's try that. No.
Oh, do I need to? I need to fix this.
I see. Okay. I've got you. I got to change my setup here, and you know what I did not figure out is, I got to listen to the conversation here.
There you are.
I've got to change my desktop audio so that I can hear you. No, that's not what I want.
All right.
And I don't know why I am not showing. Turn on your toggle to include your camera. I don't know what you mean, turn off my toggle.
There we go. We're working on getting his face in
I
here.
thought I was gonna do it to begin with.
Come on. Come on.
And I ended up doing another way. So there we go. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, did it work? It did. I'm a real streamer now, everybody. Can you tell? I just got to get sound now.
All right.
I can't hear you yet.
So we're good.
I know what I'm going to do.
All right. Bootstrap Spots. Hey, we got one. What's up, Bootstrap Boots?
Give me a second. I got to turn off.
I don't know if he can hear me. We have, is that Dear Jeff? Or Jeff Reed backwards. Let's go. Jeff Reed. I recognize that name. How you doing, brother? He's looking good, though.
Come on.
Hey, he's in here. That's all that matters. We made it.
Not work when you need them to.
I don't know if he can hear me or not, but I'm assuming you guys can hear me in the stream, which is why I muted myself over there. We got Breezy Banana. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for highlighting your message. I appreciate it. I'm just going to do an introduction. Wait a minute. Maybe.
Can I hear you now?
Can you hear him? Making sure you guys can hear him. I don't see his stuff. I
tested this all out with Andy.
Oh, it's on
Friday, and everything worked just fine. So
Speakers Pro X. That's not gonna work. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna stop this music because that's gonna mess us up. Okay. Okay, desktop audio capture control.
Hey, Brandon, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
I got thumbs up.
Okay, you can hear me, so it is just my problem on my end here.
Okay.
Desktop audio. What is not working on my desktop?
Now you guys can hear him. I'm gonna mute him while he figures himself out. I'm gonna do an introduction real quick. Everybody, welcome in. My name is. Let's get centered on my camera here. My name is Brandon, Pastor B. Always, whatever you guys want to call me, as long as you're nice about it. I want to hear from you. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No, hold on. Microphone. Okay, hold on. Okay, now you can hear me, can't you? Hello. Mic check, mic. Done. Can you hear me now? Mic check. Actually, it should be a different audio setting. Microphone. Let's do this one. Mic check. Stop the test. Okay, that's correct. This is correct. Browser sources. Done. Okay. All right. I'm just going to lean into this, folks. I'm literally just going to lean in. Yeah. So we have Spartans of Gaming. There we are. I'm watching you people. The world may never know. May never know what? About Jesus. That's why we're here. Sent from the Church Digital channel. Let's go. I have things popping up here that I don't know why they're showing up like that. Okay. Well, I am unmuted. Spartan, can you be in Flat Cat or the Church Digital's the thing and just tell him to see if we can just jump on Discord? He is super low. He's muted. If you hear him at all, it's coming from my headset. Testing. Knowing awareness. Welcome in. Aha. We're getting there. Could something simply... Yeah, I have him muted right now. Just because I was trying to do introductions and stuff like that. But I'll unmute him here in just a minute. If you guys want to hear him, boom. This is him right now. This is us.
Well, I thought there was a mute up here in the corner on this tab, and now that I clicked on it and and off, it disappeared on me.
So
So I think the window is
yeah, so I was trying
muted.
to
I do not know.
maybe unplug the VR headset if that's plugged in. Oh, we're in each other's chats. That's right.
VR headset's not plugged in at all.
That's okay. I feel silly.
Yeah, something is simply muted. That's exactly the problem, but I can't figure out. I'm not showing anything coming into my desktop audio, so that's and that's why I was thinking the tab here was muted, and then it wouldn't let me fix it.
Okay. At the church digital.
This is gonna make for really great VODs. I'm just telling you.
You need to enable. Or you need to change the default
settings, browser source,
to allow the streaming software to pick it up. I don't know if you guys can hear the okay, I lost him.
Just frustrating, everybody.
That sounds a lot better. I don't know what he did.
Oh, no, it still has it. That's where it's supposed to be going. I don't know why.
Here, I'm gonna pull this over.
Let me try this.
Onto. Oh, you guys can't see that.
No,
Shucks.
that's not what I want to change it to. Well,
that's not gonna work.
Oh, hey, there we go.
You hear me?
I can hear you on my computer now.
Woohoo!
Why it's not going to where I want it to?
So what you need to do is on the right side where it says participants, you can click settings, and then you actually have to change your browser source. I think audio output. Audio output, you need that to be on control audio via streaming software. Can you hear me, Flatcap? Hello. Come on. So, once again, everybody, welcome in. We're just going to go to the just chatting screen until we can actually get on the same page right here. If anybody is, yeah, you're probably hearing him or hearing me from his headset being picked up in his mic, but I can see the guest. Woo! We still hear you, but not Min. Okay. Let's see. I don't hear him at all now, which is not good. Control V via audio. Okay, let me see here. So if anybody wants to try to help on this, I'm just going to put this up on the screen. You guys can show him. If you look right here, if I'm going to go to settings, which is on the right hand corner, I'll click on it for you guys. Come down here to the participants, settings, audio output, control the audio via streaming software, and then have it output to his whatever his headphones are. All I'm saying is let's see here. And then click done. Send audio with your camera via browser source. Interesting. I haven't done that. I don't want to do that. That just seems annoying. But now I cannot hear him at all. Do you see him popping on OBS? You haven't been invited to this stream together. No. And I got commercials. All right. He may be I know. I'm just making content, Spartan. Clip it. No. There we go. We don't need to have that. Let me see. Can I just call him? Let me call him on Discord and we'll see if we can get that to work. Hello, hello. Okay, I disconnected from Discord. Okay, I hear you. Okay, I got my camera on. Okay, audio output. Yes, that's how I want it. Are we good on the collab Twitch? We are, and you look so much better. I don't know what the deal was, but I hear you just fine.
Okay, how are we in stream? Does everybody here in stream now? Everyone in stream here, or do we just have a private conversation?
If you look at your OBS, you should see me popping on some level. Mine is labeled Twitch collab overlay. I don't know what yours would be set up to be.
Well, mine should just be going through desktop audio is what I've done before.
You can change that setting so that then it will. So if you look at the participants side, click on that little cog for settings, audio output. You can change it from desktop audio capture to control audio via streaming software. And then you can actually see it reflect in OBS. If you're not seeing it reflect in OBS, you know that it's not being picked up.
Okay, so now I at least can hear him, but you guys can't hear. Okay. Okay, so you were saying under...
So on the bottom right where the participant screen is, click on the little cog. You see the two of us together. There's a little cog on the right.
Yeah.
Settings, audio output.
Do I want to click send audio with your camera via browser source?
No, mine is selected the one above that, control audio via streaming software, because then it'll give you the.
I was just asking if I needed the bottom button as well.
Oh no, I don't have mine checked, at least.
Okay, there we go. I see you bouncing now.
Okay. So we should. It should be good.
I know the echo there, but I was trying to do earbuds. I couldn't hear anything. Nothing was going on. Nothing was getting through. There was the thing I needed to do. It works. It works. All right, let's start over again. Just wipe.
First clip. Just wipe.
Wipe. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
All right. So, hey, good to have everyone in here. Those who've been chatting, I'm sorry. I've been totally ignoring all of you lovely, lovely people as I'm trying to self-diagnose all my tech stuff. Of course, when you do the tech drill, everything works. And then when you come on, you'll have problems. Welcome to Twitch, the home of tech issues. I know. Look like audio sync is off, but we can see in here. Yeah, that's weird that it's off on mine.
It looks good for me. I wonder if they reset their Twitch.
Well, it looks off for me on my screen too. So.
Okay. Yeah, on mine.
It is what it is right now.
Yep. We roll with it.
We're not going to get it any better than we have it right now. Is what I feel. So. All right. So my hope with this time together is just really chatting about doing online missions, doing online ministry, being a digital missionary. I'm not worried about if that's the label that you use or not, or if there's a different label that you use. That's just, I think, kind of the one that to me makes sense is to just talk about I'm online, I'm doing digital stuff, I am a missionary.
That's right.
I may be in a church. I may just be someone that's helping out. I might be someone that's gaming. I might be someone that is a content creator. I could be a mod, but whatever it is, I'm bringing Christ and being Christ in that space. Yeah, I see I'm pixelated. Yep. I don't know what I'm going to do with that right now.
Yeah.
I got everything working. I'm just going to deal with the quality problem and say it's okay. By the way, tomorrow I should be getting uh, fiber, and so hopefully that will make it quite a bit better. Let me just see if there's anything else I can shut off that's running in the background.
Are you running Koi Pond on the other thing?
No, no, I am not. I shut that down to make sure because if we were going to do a game, that would cause some
Mm-hmm.
more stuff. But why don't you just kind of talk about how did you come into feeling the call to be in ministry, and how did you feel the call to be in digital space? Uh, and just kind of start with that.
Okay. Absolutely. For everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Brandon or Pastor B or always. My Twitch handle is as always Min. And it really started at the end of 2020 and starting into 2021. I had a phenomenal church. I was working for a Taiwanese English missionary or English portion of their ministry, and I got to do a lot of different things in that capacity. And I was working from home because of the pandemic, and I just had another screen open. And it was, it was a content creator. It was Stone Mountain 64, not a Christian content creator. I was just watching him play Warzone and having a good time, and I was just kind of grooving. And as things started to progress, right, as things started to go deeper into the pandemic and stuff, it was painfully obvious that there was so much more that could be done in this space, and the Holy Spirit spoke to my heart and said, this is, we can offer them so much more. And it was that was the beginning. That's when I talked to my wife, and she's a music teacher, and we had a 1.5-year-old and stuff, or almost 2 year old at that point. And I'm like, hey, like, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm feeling. Pray with me about this. And so when we're talking about a period of a couple months of just checking in with her and stuff, and finally, we were like, okay, well, let's see what this looks like. And going down to one income in the Bay Area of California is unheard of. It's crazy. It's cuckoo town. um, and God just was very, very present with us, open doors. He opened up the perfect location that no one would have imagined to start a digital ministry out in the mountains. About a 2.5 hour drive away from where we were, there was this little cabin nestled up in the little foothills of our mountains over here. And God just confirmed in our hearts that that was where He had for us. And we went, and we quit the church job. They sent us with their blessing. We went and just kind of made ourselves cozy, and we didn't know where to start. We didn't know what to do. I had an idea, and I can guarantee you the first thing I did was not anything at all related to what I thought I was going to be doing. But God just kind of opened that door, and we've just kind of been leaning into that. Now we're going on 3.5 years, almost four in July. So, yeah, and you mentioned it, and because kind of as we got into this intro, the way that we participate in digital ministry is so varied. And one of the things that I've been feeling led to and making time for recently is participating in the Twitch community instead of just being a streamer in the Twitch community. When I first started out, I was in everybody's channels. I knew everybody. Not as many, there's other people that know more streamers, but getting to know people, and now I'm finding myself in people's Twitch channels, and I'm clicking on people's names when they pop in the chat, and I'm looking at their bios. Twitch is a very interesting community because it's streamers supporting streamers. I mean, there's the most active people that I see are other streamers, and it's micro influencer stuff, right? It's people with 1 to 3 viewers, and they know the value of what it is to be in chat, and they know the value of what it is to drop a follow, and they know the value of what it is to be engaging it just takes such a tremendous load off of everything, and to have people collaborating and to have people engaging in that space, it's just a really nice thing to have.
Yeah, I say it's I've known you probably close to that length of time. I think it we both started about the same time, and then came connected at least 3 years ago,
Hmm.
and we both were seeing the mission field in the digital space. We were
Absolutely.
both seeing the people that needed to have the light brought to them.
Hmm.
And then I started to notice too people that were out there. So I love that it's like you just happen to have something up in the background that you weren't paying attention to, but you're like, oh, I know what that person needs. They need the love of Jesus. They
Hmm.
need to be connected there, and that missionary heart. Bootstraps was asking about you being bilingual, and the answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Uh, growing up as a missionary in another country, growing up with a family that knows what that is. Oh, you know what? I know this story. So why don't you tell about your grandfather? Just like your heritage of the pioneering spirit of experimenting and bringing the gospel by whatever means necessary, because it's an awesome story.
Okay. Um, wow, what an honor to get to share about my grandfather. My grandfather was one of those people that when the Lord gave him a vision or wisdom in doing something, there was no no. The Lord led him to a little Bible college, to go to Bible school to get prepared. He went and worked in Alaska on fishing boats and spent the whole summer trying to earn enough money so he could go to Bible school. About 2 weeks before he was supposed to go and enroll in this Bible school, the boat he was working on burnt. He lost every penny because he had it all saved in his bunk. Lost the entire savings of all the work of the entire summer. Um, and he said, "Nope, I am called to go to this school." I'm just giving you guys an idea of who my grandfather was, right? He showed up.
I didn't know this part. This
Yeah,
is new to me.
yeah,
I know the other piece in the what he does when he gets there. I didn't know the background, dude. That's awesome.
yeah. Well, he just showed up at the Bible school and was like, "Hey, like I'm here to enroll and this and that." And they're like, "Okay, well, you know, I mean, you don't have any money." He's like, "And?" They're like, "Well, it costs money to go to these classes." And he says, "Hey, I understand that. I did my part. I went and worked for it. It burnt in a fire. God told me to be here. I'm here." And they didn't admit him. He went out and sat down on the steps of the university for 3 days. Just sat there, didn't move. Probably didn't have money for a hotel room to sleep in, so probably just crashed right there. I don't know. I didn't get to ask in this part. After the third day, one of the administrators walked by. "Come on in." They walked him through some kind of whatever it took to get him in. All of his clothes had burned up in the fire. He didn't have any clothes. The
Oh
local the
man.
local doctor had passed about 2 weeks before he got there. They connected him with the widow, and she had all of this, like all the suits and shoes and everything fit him to a T. I mean, God just provided. And so he went through the training. He did everything. He ended up going to Mexico. This is before he married my grandmother. Went and worked with the braceros in Mexico. So it's a migrant agricultural community, just going out there sharing Jesus with people day in and day out. They ended up getting some land that they rented from one of the other missions that was over there, so they could do corn, so that they could self-sustain on the mission field. They were doing all this other stuff, and the Lord led him to do a fast of 40 days of prayer and fasting. And going to who my grandfather is, he's like, I need a place to do this. He didn't have a place to just be alone with himself, and so he took a shovel to the side of the mountain and hollowed out a cave out of the lime and sandstone and stuff that was there. And I got to see this place in 2022. Oh my goodness! If,
Cool.
if you need if you need a place to find Jesus away from the heat of the Mexican sun and stuff like that, I mean, this was the place. Dirt floor, nothing. I mean, we're not no furniture, no comfy pillows. He was on his face in the dirt in this thing, and after 40 days, he didn't have a word. He didn't have anything. But he walked out of his prayer cave, and he heard the braying of a donkey, but that donkey was miles and miles and miles away.
Yeah.
And the thought came to him, he's like, what if, like, how can I broadcast this sound? How can I broadcast the gospel? How can I get the gospel out? Right. And so that thought just plagued him, and he was one of those people that was relentless, and he went and somehow came to a psychological warfare weapon from the Vietnam era. And this was a speaker system. And what they would do in the Vietnam era is they would fly very specific planes with the speaker system mounted in. There's only one other one that I know of that's in existence. It's in the Smithsonian. Flew over the things to say, hey, we're going to be bombing this and this and this. Get your civilians out, like with this, stuff. And so, like, they would use that for psychological warfare back then. And God provided the means for him to get one. I mean, this is not just regular military surplus. Like, this is like one of two, maybe
Right.
three at the time. And then he needed a very specific airplane for it to fit into, and he got that airplane. And then he had to customize a special door so he could fly his airplane with the speaker system in it, but he needed to be able to open flaps, and he rigged a system for him to be able to do that. And then he started preaching over Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, El Salvador. He's been, all the way as far as South America. I know he made it as far as Argentina because he crashed his airplane there once. Okay, but the way that the acoustics work, like, he could preach over a city or a town or a village, and what he would do is he would just fly circles, and he had to dial in that circle just right, put the airplane in a formation. He would just preach, and he would do an altar call, and he would say, at the end of his thing, he would say, if you decided to give your life to Jesus, go find a mirror, go find something, flash the sunlight back at me so that I can see. And when he would go and he would preach over the little towns and places would just light up with all of these people running out with mirrors, and they would start doing that. And there's a picture of my grandfather sitting in his aircraft. He's got a headset on just like mine. It was older, obviously, in green, and and stuff like that. But I mean, the same configuration as what I have today, and broadcasting in a way that is like, I may never see the faces of the people that I get to engage with. I may never get to shake somebody's hand in that. But he would go, and then after doing this for a couple of years, like, there's some problems with that. Like, you need to have boots on the ground. You need to have churches ready to accept this influx all of a sudden of people that have given their life to Jesus. And so started working with that. He founded a church in Honduras, and and that's where, I mean, he just kept preaching and sharing the gospel. He used to dive bomb with candy. They take the speaker system out of the aircraft, and they would dive bomb soccer fields with candy. They would just open up 50-pound bags of candy and just dump candy. Is it any wonder he had a couple plane crashes? But
50 pounds of candy falling from the sky. This doesn't sound entirely safe.
Don't drop the bag. The person that had to lean out the door with this bag of candy was just tied with the seatbelt just around their waist, and he'd
just a little belt, keeping you in the plane.
OSHA needs to stay in the United States. Anything south of that was not going to be a permissible thing. But the impact that you can have when you are open to what God has for you, right? And it's just, man, God's looking for obedience. And one of the things that gives me courage and gives me encouragement is, it's like, God doesn't call the gifted, right? He calls the willing, and he equips them and sends them out to do what he has. So absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know the whole background there. I just knew he flew planes and preached the gospel, and it was like, innovative, creative, and different than everyone else. How was your grandfather seen by the traditional church that he was operating with as a missionary, or did they not care what he did?
Well, he said he was sent by the Assemblies of God Missions Committee. They never were able to endorse that part of the ministry. They, planning a church, fine, and stuff like that, and all the other things, but just the liability alone of the things that he was doing. He, some people were not happy to see him. He one time his chair broke in his aircraft, and he fixed it by rigging a 2x4, just shoved up under the seat in a way. Took some kind of small arms fire, and when they got out of the airplane after that event, the 2x4 had caught the bullet. Otherwise, it would have been somewhere in his rear end. Yeah. It's just like, hey, like there's actual costs to that kind of ministry.
Yeah.
And and the Catholic Church in Mexico is so prevalent, and it's very, very very, very authoritative, and they were opposed to him preaching, and they I heard this story after. I wish I could have seen his face when he was such a good storyteller. If I am not, he was a phenomenal storyteller, but they started to interfere with him preaching. They went over and they started ringing the church bells. So they just the ding, the ding, the ding, the ding, and that was their answer. And I don't know if it was a couple times or if it was the first time, but my grandfather got on the microphone and said, even the Catholic Church is celebrating the news that's being preached to you by the ringing of the the tower, and the bell stopped. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting story, but I had to tell the first part of the story about the fish, the fish boat burning up and everything like that, just to give you an idea of his resilience.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. And as you're sharing about that, it does bring to mind that pursuing what God calls you to do can often bring obstacles and barriers and difficulties. And you didn't talk about you having conversations with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
What are two or three, and if they're longer stories, just keep it, to one.
Sure.
But two or three things that have come up in the 3 to 4 years as you've been doing this that have been obstacles that you've had to overcome, and then how have you overcome those, or how has God overcome those for you?
I think the first obstacle was myself, and I'm somebody who rates myself pretty high on the obedience and the discernment and stuff. I think that that's pretty intuitive for me. But when I committed to moving my family and everything over to do this, I thought that I was going to go live in the first 2 weeks that I was out there. We left in April, and I struggled with myself. I struggled with the way to do it. Our first official stream was July 8th, I think, was our first official stream. And the understanding, I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted good camera, good audio. I couldn't get my game audio to come into the stream at the same time, so I did a couple test streams, and I was just working. I'm kind of I like fixing computers and I like doing stuff, and I was just throwing everything I had at just making everything just work. Got a capture card. I didn't have a whole lot of money.
Yep.
A little $30 one from Amazon. Got that on the thing, and I was like, okay, now I got video in, and I just I was so proud of the way that my first official stream looked. And I look at that now in retrospect after 3, I'm like, ooh, that thing was so rough, and there was so much more that so much improvement that needed to do that. And so my first struggle was with myself, with a perfectionism as an excuse, right? Because we want to do things well and everything is unto the Lord and all that stuff. But the call to go, the commission to say that make everything perfect and then teach the gospel, it doesn't say that. It says go preach and and teach, baptize, and so it's one of those things that for us is crucial, is setting our preferences aside and being missional first, Finances has definitely been a struggle for us. Going from two salaries to one salary, even though we moved to a much cheaper place to live and things like that. It's something that I've seen, and it's on like a recurring thing. It's like whenever I'm struggling with finances, I can look and see into the lives of 5 or 6 other creators, and they are in the exact same boat with me. And when I see content creators go dark, and I check in on them, it's like, hey, this life is being difficult, and and this, and so I see that kind of stuff, and it's like, man, like it almost feels like an attack. But the reality of the situation is that God is always in control. He's in control of everything, and really, what's coming down to is once again just finding that obedience. And so that's been the second hurdle, and the third and probably the least impactful thing is just resistance from quote unquote traditional pastors, not
Yeah.
understanding the digital sphere, and not understanding not understanding the level of community we can build for stuff. And I'm a hugger. I like to hug people, and when we get to digital, it's very, very difficult for me to wrap my arms around somebody and just give them a good comforting squeeze. But these are the challenges, and these are the things that we've had to overcome, right? And then we get opportunities like ReachConf and Exponential and all these other places where we can actually engage with the people that we're ministering with and for in those spaces. So it's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Bootstraps was just kind of an agreement with you there that we all get that part of the growing pains of the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and the concept when you start something new, you try something new, and I was talking about this earlier today of have and I'll ask this question. So I will say I feel totally blessed that before I went to seminary, the church that I was working at and serving with had an attitude of let's try it and failure is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After I got out of seminary, I didn't realize what a blessing that was. I went to churches that excellence is the most important thing. And if it's not excellent, you don't get to do it in the church. Not that this was their attitude exactly this, but the
Mm-hmm.
example that makes some sense is well, you can't be pitchy, dog, when you're up there singing. If you're pitchy, dog, you're not even going to get in it. And so it's like go out in the world, perfect what you're doing, then come back to the church when you are perfect, and then you can be used by the church. Like God has to,
Mm-hmm.
take you out into the world to hone your skills. We can't do that in the church because the church has to be perfect when you get up front. The church has to do everything right the first time. And as I even feel that today when I went to my denomination and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing digital stuff," and they're like, "Well, how is it going to be viable?" Look, God called me to do something. I didn't ask God about how is it going to be viable, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Like, and then how do I even demonstrate if it's viable or not? I mean, unless you're just talking on a financial sustainability basis, I don't know what else you're asking about when you're
Mm-hmm.
saying viable, and that's really what they were asking.
Right.
So it's not the easiest thing. Hey, Tall Skinny is in the house. Tall Skinny Kiwi. Saying your pastor, you know nothing, Jon Snow, is counterproductive. Totally, yes.
Yeah. The
Just checking if there's anything else in the chat.
yeah. One of the
Oh, as
things.
always, asking if you can turn your mic up a smidge.
Oh. Uh,
I might be able to do that too.
yeah. If you could up me there, that would be better.
Yeah, let me do that. Oops, wrong way. Um, oh, I know where it is. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a really interesting perspective. And I was getting to read one of the greatest chapters in the Bible today with my wife. We were in Acts chapter 2, right? And so um, we were looking at this moment in history where these guys, most of them, right, fishermen, unlearned people, and Peter
Yes,
gets.
they are uneducated. I love that line. When they saw that they were uneducated men,
Hmm.
they didn't know what to do anymore.
Right. You know, and it's like, hey, you know, is this viable? Can we put six fishermen, a doctor, a tax collector, and, you know, can we throw these people in the deep end and start a church? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and technically, Jesus sent them out before they were even filled with the Spirit. Jesus sent them out, you know, to do ministry, to cast out demons in His name, and it was something that during His ministry, before everything else was going on, He was making an impact in the world through people, whether they even had a full understanding of what the gospel actually was. They were out there doing the work.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things I have and I continue to see is in digital space. When you are hanging out in digital space and you start feeling the nudge from God to do things,
Hmm.
you're like, okay, let me move into that. Let me
Right.
try that. Let me see it. But I think there's also a level of the more you see it, the more people are inclined to see it. The church digital, we're praying at 10:02 in your own time zone. We're inviting people to join us. That it's Luke 10:2 is pray for the workers of the harvest
Mm.
to send out, and we're praying that for the digital mission field. So at 10:02, we're inviting people to pray every day. But I am seeing God send people into the harvest. And Bootstraps was asking, so I think this goes right along with that of when you are feeling you are the only one doing it, when you are isolated because you don't have a church that's physically with you, when you have struggles of the doubts, the mental struggles, or the enemy attacks, or like I heard you reaching out to people, but what do you do yourself? What has been helpful to you in the last 3 to 4 years of being able to stay faithful and stay in the trenches of what God's called you to do?
um, I, I think I'm half the man my grandfather was. So that resiliency is generational.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I don't know if that came out entirely right, but just the raw resilience is part of it. Um, if my wife were not who she is, I don't think that I would be where I am today. I think that um, that's a really difficult thing to ask of her to do what she does. Um, you know, she's been a tremendous supporter of this, and she doesn't know the impact that she has. I try to tell her, but it doesn't ever come across as well as it does. And then having people that, even though they're struggling, they still come in and they support and they do stuff. That's been a major component. And then having kind of in the same vein, I mean, the John 17:23 groups, having other pastors that are in similar spaces, in similar struggles, coming together and sharing and talking and having that brotherhood as iron sharpens iron. Um, that's that's been very much a major component of why we are still able to do what we do. And we've been through some tough times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can say it's been a privilege to be in, and I'm one of the people that coordinates and helps to put John 17:23 groups together. But essentially, those who are doing ministry and serving as a shepherd pastoral role, which missionaries certainly do. So you don't need a title, you don't need credentials. You're just doing the work of that. We put people together in a group talking about similar things and struggles. So I've set those up digitally to gather together. And we do four things in those groups for those that haven't heard about them. We share our life story with each other. We check in with each other on how things are going. We read scripture together. We don't teach each other. We bring a scripture and we talk about, hey, I saw this in this passage, and God and the Spirit were speaking to me in this way, and I wanted to share it. Just or hey, what are your observations on this? We're not teaching theology. We're intentionally interdenominational
Hmm.
so that we can share with each other and build up. Because John 17:23, if you don't know, is part of the high priestly prayer, and Jesus says, As I and the Father are one, he is praying for us to be in unity the same way. And he's praying for all believers. And so that the world will know that they are my disciples because of the unity they have for one another. And so I really believe that's important. I see it happen more easily in digital space, but it might be right now because there's so few of us, we're not territorial. So I'm praying that it stays that way, that we build it into the culture in digital space, that I'm going to support you, and I'm going to support As Always Ministries, and I'm going to support DC4C and all the things that you're doing, because I want to see you succeed. The Church Digital, we want to see you succeed. We want to help you in whatever ways, and anyone else, with community, with connection, with equipping, and helping to mobilize you in whatever you're doing in ministry. Uh, One of the things that I know for myself personally that keeps me going are the stories of impact in a person's life. Can you maybe
Absolutely.
just share one, if it's a really good long one, that's fine, or two, if they're a little shorter, of deep impact that you were there and because you were in digital space,
Hmm.
whatever was going on, you were able to make an impact in a person's life, or it was a repeated, ongoing relationship. So either either side of that,
Yeah.
what keeps you going from realizing the impact that you're having for the kingdom?
Yeah, I think that there's two stories, and I'll be brief about them. But we had, as most great stories do, there's a struggle, and I was struggling. We are not financially viable. We had to move in with my in-laws. I was tired. I was frustrated. Um, I was not in the headspace to get online and be happy and cheery and push forward and do stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to stream tonight. And the Lord just pressed on my heart, you're going to stream tonight. Like, okay, God, but I'm not going to play video games. That was my that was my thing. And I mean, I don't know how the spirit communicates I don't care, man. Just do just do it. But he let me operate that way. It was really interesting. And I just went and I got a orange background. It was a Thanksgiving stream. It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I just had a little, oak leaf up there, Thanksgiving over the thing, and I'm just a face right in the smack dab. And I get online and I'm just talking about all of the reasons that I'm thankful. And we have people coming in and talking and sharing what they're thankful for and whatnot. And all of a sudden, just this person, brand new, never seen this person before, popped in and like, oh, I thought you were playing Fortnite. I had forgotten to change the game to just chatting or whatever. And so we start having this conversation, and we just, we're like 15 minutes in, and the spirit just presses on my heart, like, do an altar call. Okay, well, how do you do an altar call with just a couple people talking about why they're thankful? But it's like, hey, you know what? I hear you, and I get in, and we have people that are in the chat, and they're like, hey, following Jesus was the best decision I ever made in my life. And this person who she was 8 or 9 years old gave her life to Jesus live on that stream, and just the euphoria of what was there, followed by immediate sheer panic, because here I am, a guy in his 30s talking to an 8 or 9 year old girl, and I'm like, we always follow up, we always connect. There's, and this is a child in the digital space, yeah. And I'm like, what? As much as I wanted to make her decision to follow Jesus about her, and in that, it's like, and I don't remember how I worded it. I was like, can I talk to your mom or your dad or whatever? And eventually, after we ended stream, I got on Discord. Her mom messaged me, and we started having this conversation. And then she ends up recommitting her life to Christ over Discord messaging, and just like, what is happening? What is going on in this thing? And it was just because obedience factored in. And the other story is really interesting because
just before you jump in the other sure. story there, I love the arguing with the Holy Spirit, because not a lot of people are, and let me put it this way, not a lot of pastors that I know are willing to talk about that. But that's how I usually do it. Like, no, why? No, that's not what I'm thinking. What do you mean? That's what? And here, people will ask, how do you know if it's God speaking to you? I like to phrase it this way. It it sounds like my voice, but it's not my idea and it's not what I want to do. Now that's not all the time, but that's when I know for sure that this is the Holy Spirit leading me into something because I'm arguing with the Holy Spirit about, well, I didn't say that. I only said this. So you can be obedient to the part that you're willing, just like you were talking about. Well, I told you to go online. So if you don't want to play the game, that's on you, bro. Um,
It's like, yes, as almost as irreverent as that sounds, I mean, if it's bigger, faster, stronger, better than anything that you would ever dream or imagine, harder,
yeah,
it's that's the
Yeah,
things
and
that.
I'm
Mhm.
not going to get to the Jonah and I'm going the opposite way, but I'm going to argue along the way, kind of a thing. Like, are you sure? I'm testing this out. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a great plan. Have you thought this through, Holy Spirit? I don't usually say that, but I think that, it's like, what? No, this
Mhm.
can't be. I mean, that's like when I started the prayer booth, and the whole, like, why am I going to take a year off of work
Mhm.
to start a nonprofit and
Yep.
not get paid and have no income
Yep.
and sit in the local artisan market? Like, God, you're bringing me into digital, now you're telling me to go into physical. What am I supposed to be doing here?
Mhm.
Um so it's just so fun. The other thing I was going to say or ask, how often do you recall that story for yourself, so that like when you're down, when you're struggling, you go, oh, I've had a moment, I've had at least one victory for the kingdom. That's enough to keep me going when it gets struggling.
Mm. I probably at least 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
When it comes to measuring impact, when it comes to being able to clearly and effectively communicate how God is moving in digital spaces, how God could possibly use some guy playing a violent video game can actually make a difference in people's lives. You know, we had we had somebody. I took him out in Warzone, and he raged, and he came into my into my channel, and he pops in from time to time. And I mean, if you're here, lazy, love you, man. Like, hey, and now, God's working on him. God's not letting him loose. God's, and we have connection. We have an opportunity to engage and stuff like that, and it's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
it's only God, you know, and I think that there's I've been doing a devotional live, or pre-recorded or recorded in the past, anyways, from My Utmost for His Highest. And one of the things that he cautions against is basing your life and your ministry on the victories of the past, because if you're not focused on what God is doing in the right now, right,
Oh, yeah.
right, and so when I say 3 or 4 times, I think that's accurate, because I'm constantly looking for the victories of what God is doing today.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And my point in bringing and saying that is, because part of Bootstrap's question was, what do you do when you feel alone and isolated, and
Mm.
you don't feel? So my thought was just in the recounting the victories that God has already given, which is
Mm-hmm.
also what we're called to do.
Right.
Uh, teach them to your children, recount them along the way. I mean, there is the annual celebration that God brought them out of slavery.
Absolutely.
So it's an ongoing. So that was more my thought,
Mm-hmm.
not living in the past, but in the present, when it feels like I'm wandering in the desert, I remember that He brought me out of slavery. That
Mm-hmm.
that was my. But yeah, I know you do Oswald Chambered, and have been doing that for some time.
Yeah. you
Okay,
know
if you want to either follow up on that or move into the other story.
yeah, no, and that's, the other story is just, getting to see what God has done in someone's life over 3 years now. This was the person that first gave their life to Christ, because of digital, and As Always Ministries, Christmas Eve 2021. And what a tremendous thing to 3 years later have that person speaking words of wisdom into my life. That was,
Oh,
I know, it was something that, I mean, the Bible is very clear, don't consider yourself better than or more than anybody else and stuff like that. And so be careful of those, just because you're called to do stuff, right, doesn't mean that you're the only one called to do it, and things like that. But being admonished, being loved on, being cared for by somebody that I was there from the moment that he gave his life to Christ, that was a full circle moment. And I took the time to talk about that with him. It was like, what an encouragement that 3 years ago, I was pouring into you, and now 3 years ago, in a really down time for me, you're really pouring into me. And it's um, it's really corny, those teachers that are like, oh, the kids teach me, you know but it really is. When we're talking about operating in the spirit, when we talk about operating in the giftings and things like that,
Oh yeah.
that's we've got to be ready to receive as when we're giving too. It's really, really an interesting turn, and very, very heartwarming to me.
Yeah, I think you really do need to be humble and realizing that you can learn from anyone, and you may, I mean, specifically thinking spiritually, uh, they may be speaking into my life at a time when I need them, whereas before I was speaking in their life when they were in a place of no knowledge
Hmm.
and or coming to Christ.
Right.
Uh, I think about over time, uh, I talked about the church that I was at, and boy, three fantastic mentors that
Mm.
I had there before going to seminary: the senior pastor, uh, the junior high pastor, and the senior high pastor. And I hung out with the two. Senior high and junior high pastor as much as I could because they were trying to do adult ministry or they needed help. So I was young married. I'm hanging out with those guys. They're younger than me, but it's like I don't know why. I just love hanging out with you guys. So if you say I need help and I say when can I be there?
Right.
What is it? Oh, I don't care. You say you want me there and I'll be there. That was how valuable they were in my life. And then the senior pastor, I didn't take up a lot of his time, in that
Mm.
same way of an ongoing weekly connection with him. But boy, when we would sit and have chats, he just poured into me, um, and always was calling me to something more than I thought I could do.
Right.
Fast forward years later, when I'm no longer at the church, I'm out of seminary, and there are struggles at the church, and
Right.
I stop in and I pop in to visit him, and then he's asking me on a level of, hey, this is going on, what do you think about this? Like, hey, you've got fresh eyes, you're on the outside, you're a young guy trying to work your way. Can you breathe life into me because I'm feeling worn down? And it's
Mm.
like, it just was like, wow, I never thought that this relationship would flip, that
Right.
I would be on the other side speaking into you, my mentor. um you know, but it was just so powerful. I've kept up with two of those guys throughout the years. One moved away to Scotland, and I lost connection with him.
Mm.
But the other two, I've tried to stay connected with as much as possible.
Right.
And you know, boy, in digital space, you can even stay more connected. Still, like every relationship, it takes effort on both parts to do that, but it just seems so much more of to me, I'm in your life
Right.
because I'm constantly chatting with you or seeing you post and responding to it. um, and
Right.
maybe that's something that people that are only in physical churches may not see.
Mm. Yeah. That's. I think that we're talking about the viability of ministry, and I think viability of ministry is not measured in the finances; it's measured in the fruit. Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
something that, if if we look at the viability of the ministry of the apostles, they bled and died, burned, boiled, for the sake of the gospel and stuff. And
yeah.
and for us, it's about, um, how do we measure our success? Do we measure it in the analytics, right? Do we have 3 people watching, 5 people watching? Sometimes it's one, and one of the encouragements that I give people, especially when they're starting out, is if you have 2 or 3 people hanging out in your stream, if you average 3, you're in the top 90% of Twitch streamers. Like,
I know, that's so mind blowing. It's so mind blowing.
And then if you're on YouTube and you're engaging and stuff on there, and I mean, who knows? YouTube is such a different thing altogether. But I mean, how you define success is, I think it's got to be measured in impact. And the way people, I think that the way people see you, the way you see yourself is always different than the way people see you, right? And having those people in your life to come alongside and say, hey, I see the faithfulness, I see the consistency, I see the constant attempts at approval at improvement, I see all of these things. I mean, that's faithfulness, right? So that's, for me, I think that's one of the crucial elements in knowing that we're making a positive impact. Yeah. And yeah,
just asking me, do you need to be getting off the stream here shortly, or do you have still more time?
I have another 23 minutes.
Okay, another 23. Good. Because I got a couple more questions that I'm really dying to ask.
Sure.
As you look at this year and where God is calling you, what is the most exciting thing that you are venturing into, experimenting with, or you just feel an overwhelming sense of purpose that God's going to make it happen?
That's such a good question. I think, there's so many different things that are going on right now. We're in the middle of a church plant on the peninsula. We're doing the digital stuff, and I am excited to see Lives Transformed is obviously one of them, but I'm excited to see the way that God intervenes. We're going through our credentialing process with the Foursquare, and one of the tenets, one of the it's a Foursquare gospel. Jesus is Savior, Jesus is Healer, Jesus is Lord, and Jesus is Giver of the Holy Spirit, and Jesus the soon coming King. Those are the Foursquare tenets of that, and we've been really operating in Jesus as Healer. The testimony of what happened with my wife. I'll give a 10-second version. 15 seconds. The December 2nd, I looked up from my computer. My wife had been on her computer. We'd been working all day, and she was in full-blown mega seizure. She suffered with epilepsy as a child, but she was one of the first children to receive brain surgery, and it was 100% success. She didn't take another anticonvulsant. She didn't have any other problems. And then all of a sudden, December 2nd, that stepped in, and God has been using that story, because she wasn't breathing, her lips were turning blue. I was, all I can do is pray the name of Jesus over her, and God gave me the word release. And I said release, and that's the moment that the seizures let her go, and she was able to take a deep breath in, and I was able to get her to the floor. We got her to the hospital. She's okay. And then that Sunday they prayed over her at church, and Jesus moved in her life, completely took away the mental fog, the physical exhaustion, everything that comes along from the seizure. And now she's been using that story to connect with people at work. She shared the gospel with around 300 people between faculty, parents, students, and that's been our into the Palo Alto area and sharing Jesus. And I'm excited to see healings. I'm excited to see the way that the Holy Spirit's going to move in the lives of the people that we are in connection with. There are families that are believers that are coming around us, and I'm excited to see what God does in their life. That on top of everything that we're seeing with DC4C, we have people that are coming in. And I mean, one of them is going to be at ReachConf representing, or two of you guys. You know, you're going to be there. Redeem J is going to be there. You know, and like we're seeing God just move in people's lives and grow and do tremendous things, and getting to be a fly on the wall, getting to be one part of the puzzle and all of those things. That's what makes me excited. And like I was talking about, being in people's streams and recognizing the need and building relationship with people, that's that's taking a center stage for me.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's one of the things that I got to do early on when I was on Twitch,
Mm.
was just hang out in streams.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I've been busier in ministry, when I went back to working in physical church and having those responsibilities, it was, well, I'll raid over to you and I'll hang out for 5 minutes and then I got to go. Now,
Mm-hmm.
still often when I raid out to someone is because I have a meeting in 5 minutes now and I can't hang out, but I'll come back later if I can,
Right.
and try to do that. And so I do think that's a piece that people don't realize in digital space, is that
Mm.
connection of community that can happen. Because like right now, the chat, not super active, but people engaging, commenting back in there, that we can respond to them, they can respond to us, we can engage along. I just love the yes, 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 Lord. I don't know if you can see that going on. It's just fantastic. Whose emotes are those, by the
Yeah.
way?
My chat is bugged.
Stacy.
Yeah. I think when we had to restart the thing, my chat bugged
When
over
we
here.
restarted, you didn't
Yeah.
get the.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry
But
about
no,
that.
it's okay. But I pulled it up on a different tab here, so I got it. So I'm seeing it
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
just.
Mm.
Well, that's the other thing too. I think is that we build camaraderie with others who are on mission together, that I've rarely been able to do in a physical church.
Mm.
In a physical church, I can be in an ecumenical community and we can have a pastoral, and in different communities are better and worse than others. But the most we do is, oh, we'll do a Lenten lunch series together, and it's an extra thing, and it's at your, so one church will host and a different pastor will preach, and 70% of the people that come are from either the host or the preacher who's there, and we're not getting any engagement from the community. And then, you know what? I don't see any of those people again till next year. We don't actually connect with each other's communities. We
Mm-hmm.
might connect on pastors, and I think that's a great thing. But I don't connect with your community because I'm never in your community. I don't go to your events because I have my own events and I'm busy with my events. But
Mm.
in digital space, I can show up for 20 minutes to your event,
Yep.
and I get something out of it, and I give something to you in a very short time, where if I'm getting in the car and going to spend my time and effort, even if it's 5 minute drive, if I showed up for 20 minutes, you're going to be, and everyone's going to be looking like, why did they bother to come at all? They didn't even stay.
Right.
It's a totally different atmosphere and culture, that I think appreciates everything that people do,
Mm.
instead of looking at what you do as, you weren't here when we started, you didn't stay all the way to the end, and more judgmental in that. I'm not saying it's not in the space, I mean, because it is, but I'm just saying, a lot of the communities that I'm hanging out in, I don't feel that at all.
Right.
Which leads me, oh, you can go ahead and respond to that.
Oh no, I think that you know, there's always that element of collaboration. Even when someone takes 5 minutes just to pop in, like you say, that there's encouragement, there's support, there's that other stuff. And you know, one thing that I've seen, you know, is like, oh well, we show up to events, but you know, there's this, oh, how could we do it better? If we were in the situation, how would we do it, right? And it's all,
Yes,
and they have
yes.
that, they had that staff meeting, and it's like, you know, what can we do that's bigger or better? It's the Tim the Toolman Taylor Christmas decorating scene. I've been watching that again. You know, it's like, what can we do that? And that's one of the elements of Foursquare that's been really encouraging, is like, I I've never been in a situation where I felt that God put us in this place. We went to this church, and they know that we're leaving. They know that we're
Yeah.
building. They know that we're engaging with their community members, and they're encouraging us to do that.
Yes.
It's like I've always been, oh, well, you're only going to be here for 6 months, or you're only going to be here for a year. Hey, don't talk to this person because, we know you're leaving. It's
Right.
whoa, and so it's been this entirely different framework for us. And it's been really, really encouraging. And in digital, man, we have the people that we know on a personal level. We have people that we know of and the things that they're doing. I rated out to somebody who I've never been in one of his streams before because people have come in and told me about his stream, and he's a Christian content creator. He plays a game I don't play, which is why I've never done anything with him, but I was able to rate out to him, and he's a bigger streamer. My rate of 6 or 7, big whoop, but right out to that, and it's an entirely collaborative and encouraging thing, and it's what the church, Big C, needs.
Yes. Yeah. I've often commented the whole raid thing. I'm like, oh my goodness, this would be like a dream of mine if what a church had a service at a time and then everyone left and went to the church down the road. And then you left and went to the church down the road and you didn't see it as competition. Like, you're not going to do it every Sunday. But like if you could do this like for a Holy Week kind of a thing, how awesome would that be? If you could coordinate it, if you could get past egos, if you could get past kingdom or castle over kingdom, if you could get past that, it probably won't happen. So, but I love the idea of that, of going from community to community. The closest I've ever done in person would be like a pub crawl or something like that, or a progressive dinner if you've ever done one of those, where you usually a progressive dinner is like you go to one person's house and you have the appetizers, you go to the next person's house and then you have a course, you go to another person's house, have another course, and you go to another person's house and have dessert. Something along those lines. And so you're going from place to place where people are serving you. You're still not open to the public. The pub crawl is like anybody comes, let's all bring ours, we'll go somewhere else. Whether you're drinking or not, it's a fun time to just go along with a group moving from place to place, and you keep inviting and bringing more people along, and you lose some along the way. And anyway, I just think that'd be super fun to do as a church.
Yeah, my brain went right away to the logistics of that. It's like well, during the pandemic, they were doing the what do you call it, the outdoor movie theater church, right, where they would hang the speakers in the cars and do the project. Everyone's already in their cars, right? All right, we'll do a service at 7:30 a.m. and then we're gonna be at so and so's church at 10 o'clock. If you missed the 7 o'clock service, let's meet at 10. Just that kind of collaboration. Again, we were in Acts chapter 2, and we're talking about the joy of the people that are coming to Christ and selling everything that they have, and there was joy in the body. It's like, man, how could we do that? That'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, one final thing that I do want to talk about. So we're on Twitch, and I have a limited genre, a limited scope of games that I've played. I usually stick to one game until I defeat it. I've usually only done one player games. I've not done the online things, but Twitch is more open to all of those things. So I asked you about a game, and I did get it downloaded. And then I was still playing through it. It said it had bugs, so I'm not sure it's ready to go. Then it said, oh, I've got to set up an Activision account. I didn't get that done. It wouldn't let me pull up because it maxed the screen, which drives me nuts. That it's like, no, I've got two screens. Let my mouse go to the other screen so I can pull up my password manager so I can create an account. Anyway. So you said Call of Duty Warzone. So
yes,
I've never played. Explain to me why this is a game that you love, and any of the genre. I know you play first-person shooter, so it doesn't matter this game specifically. So just talk in general of why you love that style, what it does in the community for the people that play it, why this one in particular you invited me to play. I don't think we're gonna have time today, but I will play that game. And then after I play it, I'm going to play whatever this clip is that you're inviting me into it, and I'll put that together with my gameplay.
Okay. Um, the idea of you playing Call of Duty Warzone tickled me pink. I told you I was like, I'm trying to be merciful. I tried to find another game that I had done that I knew we could collaborate and do stuff on and stuff, and I'm like, I've got nothing. Got nothing. So what brings me back to Warzone time and time again, despite, and there are many issues. Um, but the thing that's there is always improvement. There's always something to talk about. There's always something that it challenges me, and it's one of those things. I like games where I can drop in that I don't have to sit here. I was literally in a Discord chat talking about potentially getting back into Destiny 2 and things, and that game just takes so many hours of grinding and grinding and grinding to have the higher level stuff. And this one, once you grind your guns until they bring out a new gun, you're good to go. But the friends that I have built in this community, the friends that I have, I mean, the ministry we've done, getting there's so many different tools here. The one tool on here is proximity chat, and if you are just close enough to another player, you can talk to that other player.
Yeah.
I usually have that turned off just for stream purposes, because when I win that gunfight, they have not nice things to say. Uh, and we try to keep things as PG as we can on stream. But if should the occasion arise, I can do that, and I think that there's this constant improvement that drives me to the game, and that's why I play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so what is the general storyline of the game then? Because I know it's war and it's first person shooter, but I have no concept of what the goal is, when it's set, any of those things. So what is this one set for?
So the lore is more from the gameplay of the actual game. So the Warzone is a separate entity specifically around battle royale. So if you want a
Okay.
storyline, there's Captain Price, and there's all these characters, and I honestly cannot remember for the life of me the storyline and the betrayals and all of that. But if you play through the story, and I think there's two different iterations. There's the Treyarch version, and then there's another one. So there's two different storylines that are ongoing. You know. I don't play it for the lore. I like to be able to drop in, even if I'm going to spend 6 hours playing it. I can cut. I
Right.
can stop doing it at any moment, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, I just was trying to, figure that out because I don't know. Is it, post-apocalyptic World War III? Is it World War
Mm.
II? Is it? I mean, it's modern warfare. I know is one of the names of within that genre. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to get myself into. So
Any way that they can sell you skins and
oh
different things, they kind of build around that. But yeah, definitely World War II and later. I don't think there's anything prior to World War II in the Call of Duty franchise. And then yeah, very very much in the new era of tech. One of my chatters says it's about as sci-fi as the old GI Joe cartoon.
oh okay. See, now you throw the GI Joe in there. Now I might be intrigued, but I want the laser type shooting. I can see it going. You know,
For the low
not
low
just
price of
I
20.
shot. Was I off by 50 feet or 20 feet? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's like for the low price of $24.99, you can get tracer rounds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's in an interesting space, but yeah, it's one of those things where we can talk smack gently with one another about it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the constant ribbing of the squad mates is a lot of fun.
All right. Yeah, and I can understand the camaraderie of the people you're playing with. There are certainly games. card games and board games that I play with people that I don't care one lick for the game, but I want to spend time with you and
Mm-hmm.
camaraderie, and I'm just going to hang out with you to be able to do that. Now we know, and knowing is half the battle. I'm watching. Thank you very much. G.I. Joe, greatest American hero. Sorry. Uh,
That's fun.
um, I guess one final thing before you need to go is how can we be praying for you and your ministry and you as a digital missionary?
Mm. I think that, more than anything, that God would open up the creative component. It's one thing to be a streamer; it's another thing to be a content creator.
Yeah.
And just that whole vein of video editing and making things and being relevant. I'm pushing in the 40s, and it's one of those things. It's like I could spend all my day entirely on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, and I still wouldn't understand why something would be viral or not viral. It's just entirely
Yeah.
about a different thing. And co-laborers, people that want to come in and we're a part of VC4C. We want to encourage, equip, and empower people to share the gospel in digital spaces. The 3 E's, right? We want people that have that ability, that have that desire to do that. And then, as I mentioned, we are not financially sustainable. I just did my taxes. Our revenues were negative for last year. And it's like, well, it's
Ooh.
not about it's not about the revenue. It's about the impact and stuff. And so those are
Yeah.
all things that are entirely surrendered to the Lord, and we are joyful for what we were able to do for Him. But we do have a hope and a prayer that as things grow and as things develop and as churches around the world begin to invest in digital, right, that this would
Mm-hmm.
be you know one of the places where we could be financially viable. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just typing in the chat here. Um, Someone was asking about or suggesting Discord. Uh, I can probably copy so that's the church digital's link, but uh, let me find the link to share for. Do you want, as always, Min, Discord shared? If I can, I don't know if I can share that. Can I share that?
Yeah, let me pop that right here. And to my chat, thank you so much for being here. And I have been seeing messages, and whenever you see me smile, that's me seeing your your message. I don't know if it's showing up in flat caps.
No,
Oh, that's
I'm
definitely
trying
like,
to grab it here.
come on now.
Um,
There we go. Control C. Yeah. So the next time we do this, when we have to restart
oh,
one, I need to restart the. Um,
yeah. Oh, you got it.
I
All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
popped it in right
Yeah, I
there.
can say I go to. I found that several of them I go to and it says hidden. Well, I can't actually share. I can only invite. Then I can't post a link from. So I was just looking. Yours says hidden
Is it showing up?
when I went to pull it up.
Mm,
So there we go. So there's your info. Um, which definitely go check that out. There's also, as we were mentioning, DC4C, and that's a collection of streamers, just like there are several other collection of streamers out there, which you just start realizing if you're on your own, it's a lot harder to always feel like you're being successful and you're doing something. Uh, and Jesus doesn't even do it that way. He sends them out two by two when he sends them out. They go off and they go together. I know some denominations do it more that way, but when they're calling pastors, it's not usually that way. You're not calling two people. You're not calling an associate pastor and a pastor together. That could be a team. I mean, that would be fantastic on some level. Paul and Barnabas go off together, uh, and then uh, Barnabas and Mark go off together, and then Paul takes Silas and goes off together, and then gathers people along the way. Like, missionaries are usually sent to a foreign country. If there's two of you, it's because you're married and you're bringing your spouse and you're bringing your kids. If there's more than that, they're not usually sending two people to do ministry together. We rarely do that. But
Mm.
I think in digital space, there's more capacity to collaborate and be on there. I mean, I've got my resources here, and thankfully, uh, well, we'll see what happens because I still haven't got my tax return from last year. But my tax return from this year is bigger than last year's. If it comes in and when it comes in, um, that'll cover a month of a couple of months of housing,
Mm.
um, let alone other stuff. It's like, wow, that's totally a blessing. Wasn't expected. Um,
Right.
but because I had so little income and filed joint with my wife, it was like, yeah, my income was negative and hers was positive, and that balanced us out. And so it's like, oh God, I didn't expect you to provide that way. That was the last way I expected to be provided for,
Mm-hmm.
and he does it. So, uh,
Absolutely.
any last thoughts or things you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, I mean the main thing and the main component for me when it comes to digital is wherever you can be, wherever use your time wisely and stuff like that. But it's not about being a live streamer with 1,000 people. It might be being live for 2 people, and you're sharing. It might just be modding. It might just be whatever it is. If you have a streamer that you love their ministry, you love their support, reach out to them and say, hey, how can I support? How can I pray? Because those connections, those things, they make a difference. But don't let that be your excuse to not do what God is
Right.
calling you to do. If God is speaking to you about going live and posting content and doing stuff like that, get out there, do the work. Do the work.
Yeah, that's a good point about mods and other people. Um, we are all needed in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone is going to be a streamer, and not everyone's called to be a streamer.
That's
Not
right.
everyone's called to be a mod, but everyone is called to be salt and light.
Mm,
And whether you're in the Discord, whether you're in the chat, wherever you are, encouraging people, um, yeah, God is going to use you to do those things. So,
absolutely.
all right. Well, thanks, my friend, for being here. Appreciate you so much. I love hanging out with you. Uh, I'll get the game set up and figured out, and I will stream when I play, and then maybe down the road we can play together sometime, and you can share the joys with me, and we can hang out and do that. So that's kind of my thoughts here is to do that. My morning stream on my other channel. I've been reading the Bible, and that's probably what I want to spend most of the time. Here, I want to bring friends in, talk about what they're doing, and then to encourage other people to come check out and hang out is play a little bit of game that friends are inviting. Maybe I'll play it on my other channel too. Who knows?
Mm.
And we'll go from there. So uh, let's blow up the chat with
Woo.
thank yous and hype and emotes, whatever you want to throw in the chat. Just thank, as always, Brandon for coming and hanging out with us. DC Forcey, Lifeline. I'm throwing all your accolades out there, all your monikers, and go follow him.
I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for having me on here. I got a jet.
Yep. Take off, man.
All right. God bless.
You too, man.
How do I leave this thing? There we go. Done. All right, chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna see if I can't raid the church digital. Whoa! The raid has been created. We're gonna go ahead and go on over there. Get out of here. My son is outside, but pickup is between 2:55 and 3. I gotta walk there. It's 3 blocks. I'll be all right. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. I love you. God bless you. We will see you probably not tonight. Probably not tonight, but definitely tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone. GG. Oh my goodness. What? Wow. We're still streaming. Wow. All right. Whoever gifted that, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you.